Hello, Scorpios, and welcome to Embrace the Moon Tarot and your reading for June 2018. I am just focusing on heart, body, and soul. And in the heart, we have judgment sitting there. And I really do feel, as soon as I laid this card down, the first thought that came to mind was too much self-criticism. So you're going through a time period where you're focusing a little too much criticism on yourself. Just a little too much critiquing, over analyzing, maybe a little bit too more of what's that term, comparitis? I think someone I heard coined at one point. But yeah, that's definitely the energy that I'm getting, an overall sense of spending too much time being too critical about yourself, judging on the negative side. So if this is so for you, if you've noticed some of your thoughts are kind of leading in that direction, take the time to take note. Why? Why did you feel the moment of need to analyze, to contrast, to compare, to criticize? What's really going on? What are you really truly feeling? Is there a sense of fear involved that maybe you aren't good enough and that's why you would rather compare so that you don't put yourself out there? Whatever it is, just kind of take a step back, recognizing that you are being critical within that moment. You are judging yourself a little bit more harshly than necessary. And see if you can kind of muddle through, work through that emotion, do what it takes to kind of get yourself out of that emotion and maybe get back in the game, whatever that may mean for you. Because there's definitely a bit of blocking that's occurring as a result of this. And you just need to be good to yourself. You just need to be good to yourself. So take a step back. If it means journaling, that's fine. If it means talking to a friend, I don't feel like it's really a talk to your friend situation. But if that applies to you, please chase that. But if nothing else, journal. Take a time to tap into what it is that's driving these sorts of thoughts as far as critiquing and criticism and just analyzing self to the negative, and then try to find ways where you can think of yourself on the upscale, on the upside, the things that you know you are good at, the things that you know are worthy to mention about yourself, the things that you know other people have said to you at some point in your life. You're really good at this. I wish I was good at that too. Not that I'm encouraging people to compare to each other, because we are all unique. We all have our own unique gifts, our own unique personalities, our own unique characters and temperaments, and what we have to give and offer to the world as a whole. So I'm certainly not trying to encourage any sort of comparison and contrast, but I'm pretty sure that most of you have probably heard at some point in your life from somebody, you're really good at this. I wish I was that good. And kind of use it as a bouncing board. And take time to write about it, journal about it. If you need to, take time to do a little creative writing and do a story of what you fantasize, what your dream version of yourself would be. And then look at that to see how much of that you really, truly already encompass. Because truthfully, there's parts of yourself that you probably in this moment aren't recognizing. And it's a great time to look at it, because you're worthy of the high praise that you should be giving yourself. Physically, Tower, and I don't feel that this is something within your body. I feel like there's a change that's happening within your personal world, your personal universe. So could be family, could be relationship, could be community, could be work area, or you could be something as whatever's occurring as far as the world at whole. If you spend a little bit of time watching the news, it's really starting to bog you down a little bit. But this could even be where some of that analyzing, criticism, overwhelm with the judgment that's coming in, it can be coming from whatever it is, especially if you're spending a lot of time watching the news. It's liable to make anybody feel a little bit not content is probably the best way to put that. But just a little bit of disrupt has occurred. The Tower always makes us think it's this like shockingly huge, momentous occasion, but sometimes it's not necessarily the case. Sometimes it's just a matter of what has made us feel a bit unsteady when we were already kind of feeling unsteady anyhow because of the events of our lives. Or maybe we were feeling stable and there was just something that kind of shook the ground a little bit, and as a result of it, we're just really feeling the effects of that as we're trying to get back on strong footing and move forward and move away from this. But I would say the message that comes with this is take time for yourself. Again, it goes along with that concept of if you have to sit down and journal, take that quiet time to sit down and journal. Writing is so therapeutic, and you don't even have to keep it. If you have issues with trust, and that's one of the reasons why you won't write anything, is because you're really afraid that somebody's going to get a hold of it and then judge you for it. You can write these things down and then you can burn them. Please burn them safely. Whatever the protocol is for burning paper, wherever you are living, please follow that. But definitely you can write some of this stuff down and you can burn it if you need to, so that you know that no one else is going to come across it. You can lock it up somewhere where you know no one's going to have access to it, especially if you have a moment where you go through something similar again in the future. As far as feeling unsteady, you could return to these thoughts and realize how far you've gone. And that being said, if you are someone who already has journaled and you suddenly realize, hey, I have gone through something extremely different, but the similarities as far as the current event, as far as the chronological way the things have happened and how I have felt, I have actually gone through this before. And if you have old journals, you can actually, if you feel inclined to, go back and reread some of those, and you may find some of those strengthening tools that you already have in your bag, that you've already always have had with you, and you've carried with you from the last time things felt a bit unsettling, and it's going to give you what you need to tell you, yeah, you can do this. You've done it before, you can do it again. You can keep moving forward one step at a time. So we have King of Pentacles. Through it all, I feel that this is just really going to be a growth period for you. Whatever is going on, whatever you're feeling, whatever is happening and touching your life right now, you have the potential of using it for personal growth. So sometimes things happen in our lives we have no control over whatsoever, but we have control over how we respond and what we do with what happens. And that's the most power anybody could possibly have, right? So I feel as a whole, if you really desire to go in this direction, you can take these events and really find a way of how you can expand yourself, on from deep within all the way out, and then where it can take you as a result of it. So that's very heavily what I'm getting is the current events and the direction they're going and how they're impacting you and how you're feeling and all of that. You can take the time to take a step back and really spin it positively for yourself in some way. Figure out how you can respond to this in such a way that you can grow better. And the only thing, and I have no idea what level this is for each and every one of you who's experiencing whatever it is that you're experiencing, but let me just say, when you have places where there's been a forest fire or something disastrous like that has occurred, even when it's on a national, like if it's a natural thing, like let's go with something that no one had any control over. Let's say lightning struck, it had been a dry season, and there's now been a fire, and it takes out a good deal of forest as a result of it. And, we finally get it calmed down, we're able to get the fire out, everything's good, except for now there's damage. Now there's this patch of earth that's nothing but ash, nothing growing there anymore, completely destroyed. What now? Now, you could go in and clean up and plant and what have you, but if no one would touch that, the truth of the matter is things will eventually begin to grow. And as a result of the ash, a lot of times that ground, depending on the circumstances, but that ground actually has been enriched from that disastrous event, and things will begin to grow. And interestingly enough, there are times in history where trees that may have been considered extinct now no longer have the shadow of things that were around them. The other trees were shadowing them and they couldn't grow, so they lay dormant in the ground, and now they have a chance because those trees have been burnt to ash. There's no longer that shade casted on them. So there can be a tree that may have not grown for years and years, decades, hundreds of years, will suddenly start to pop up and grow. And now you have a species that may have been thought to no longer exist, or may have been thought to not ever be able to grow in this area again. And it's just because of the natural events that now have allowed it, even though there was no control as far as the events to create this scenario. This little tree can now grow because what was shading it was destroyed around it. So sometimes destruction can bring fertile grounds and growth. That's my point. So I hope that helps you understand how even when there's a disaster, big or small, whatever's going on in your life, figure out a way that you can make it respond to it in such a way that you can allow yourself to grow and expand and face the other direction and move forward. Sit on the throne of your life and go in the other direction. So I went ahead and pulled another card, and this card is from Spirit. And they have, the moment I embrace my peace within and surrender the outcome is the moment that the universe can truly get to work. So just kind of succumbing, recognizing that you're not going to be able to stop the events sometimes that happen around you. Understanding that sometimes the events that happen around us are out of our control, but surrendering to them to the point of knowing that this can actually be a new path for you if you respond to it and go in the right direction. Use it for your personal potential and allow it to help you go and grow in a new direction. All right, Scorpios, that is all I have for you for this month. I hope June is good to you. Make it a great one, and hopefully I will see you in July.